You want to increase your sales on Amazon. Of course you do. Whether you launched your product recently on Amazon or if you've been selling for a while, in this video, I'm going to be going through 3 very important tips that can help you really increase your sales. Now, I'm going to be talking about these tips in general, but additionally, I'm going to be adding resources that can help you deep dive into each and every tip. You'll find all the resources, all the links, anything that you need in the video description box down below. I've also time-stamped this video, so you will find chapters for each and every tip. If you want to jump to a certain and particular tip, then you can do that. But I would definitely suggest that you watch the video from start to finish. Are you ready? Let's get to work. Tip number 1, know your audience. Of course, you've heard it before and you've potentially even exercised this before. You need to find a product that is currently in demand in order to verify that it's in demand on Amazon so that it can be potentially successful when you want to choose a product to sell on Amazon. So that's very important. And I'm sure if you're already selling on Amazon, you've done just that. But do you actually know who is your customer? What they are utilizing your product for? Those are very important things because they can help you target your target audience and get better sales and compete at a higher level than other sellers. What do I mean by that? Let's take an example, the baking mat. So potentially when you decide you want to sell a baking mat, you'll see a lot of other sellers, you follow them, you check that they're selling really well. Maybe the selling price is a little bit low on Amazon UAE, but still it's a fast moving product and it's very much in demand. Now, do you actually know why people are buying this baking mat? You might think women, men, even children and teenagers are buying the baking mat. You might think they're buying it to bake cakes or make pizza and savory items. But when you do your research and you do it properly, you find out that they are buying this baking mat in order to make a certain French dessert called macaroons. Now that you have this information, you can apply it quite differently than anybody else. But how do you get this information? Before we do a deep dive into how you can get the information and how you can know your actual target audience without being a baking mat expert, by just being a regular standard seller. Neil Patel, who I believe is the master of search engine optimization, one of his famous sayings says, you can't just place a few buy buttons on your website and expect your visitors to buy whatever you're telling them to purchase. That's just not how our brains work. So replace a few buy buttons on your website with the idea of just simply having your product on Amazon and clients seeing the buy now or add to cart button isn't enough for you to make a purchase. You really need to try to target your product to the target audience or to the type of customer that is looking for that product and for what they are eventually using the product for. One thing that you can easily do right now, and it's very cost effective, you can jump onto Fiverr.com and type in keyword research. Once you do that, you'll get a plethora of freelancers, a big amount of freelancers, all offering fantastic keyword research services. My tip for you is try to play around with the filters so that you can choose level 1 seller or level 2 seller. And you can also choose or filter the search results rather, depending on your budget. You can find really good freelancers offering services as low as $5. What that does is these fantastic freelancers can give you, once you make and place an order, they can send you a full list, a full Excel sheet of all the keywords and all the search terms that people are currently using to search for your product. So back to our example. If one of the top ranking search terms for baking mat was baking mat to make macaroons, now you have a completely different vision of why people are purchasing your product. And you can change so many things in your listing and even physically with your product in order to increase sales and move away completely from other sellers. Another way to do that as well is to check reviews. And one tool that I really love, and I think most of you know, is Helium 10. And there's a very special feature inside of Helium 10 that can help you analyze reviews and try to figure out why people are buying that particular product and what they are using it for. So I'm right here on Amazon.com because the feature from Helium 10 that I'm going to be showing you right now doesn't operate on Amazon UAE or Amazon KSA, but you can still get some valuable information because at the end of the day, there are a lot of similarities with customers. So I'm still using baking mat as an example. I'm going to choose just randomly, I'm going to choose this one. And I've got my Helium 10 Chrome extension. I'm just going to open the drop-down extension from Helium 10 and I'm going to choose Review Insights. So once I choose Review Insights, Helium 10 is going to pull all of the reviews into, once I press Extract Reviews, of course, it's going to pull all of the reviews and it's going to give me like an analysis of all of those reviews without me having to go through each and every one unless I decided to go through in each and every one. So as you can see here, the top phrases, the Review Insight tool has found a lot of repeat words. And as I was, it just happens that we're going to be talking about easy to clean in tip number 2. So as you can see here, easy to clean is a very important phrase. Parchment paper for baking, easy to use, silicone baking, cookie sheet. I guess the most important things that stand out that help you understand a little bit more about this product is easy to clean. So those are more features than anything else. Easy to use, well, it's a baking mat, and cookie sheet. So I would do a further investigation about cookie sheet in order to figure out, are people buying this for cookies, for example? Now, this is only one listing. And of course, I would, you need to look at more than one listing in order to have concrete information and data that you can use. Before I move on to tip number 2, if you are enjoying this video, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and you hit the thumbs up button for this video. After the video finishes, make sure that you jump onto Instagram and follow us on our Instagram account, Amazon Sellers Society, for daily inspiration and tips. Let's move away a little bit from keywords and let's move on to tip number 2, which is PPC ads. You definitely need PPC ads in order to increase your sales. And I know most of you, maybe if you've already launched your product or if you are currently selling your products on Amazon, you already know or you've already done PPC ads. So I'm going to be talking about PPC ads that you can do right now that are less competitive and that are not expensive. Yes, they do exist. Now, if you've already done your auto campaign and your manual campaign, or if you have no idea about what I'm talking about and how to properly create a PPC ad campaign, then we do have a full series on the channel called PPC to Win. I will leave the full playlist with all the videos linked in the video description box down below under the video, okay? But let's move on to campaign number 1, which is a very easy campaign, which involves misspelled words. So there are a lot of main keywords that oftentimes people misspell, like they add a double S instead of one S or vice versa. They use P instead of F, something like that, just small misspelling when you are typing in a particular keyword. Those are not They're very, very easy keywords for you to target, but how can you figure them out? Well, you can use a tool, and I'm sure you are aware that if you sell on Amazon UAE and Amazon KSA, tools are very rare for both of those marketplaces. We don't have a lot of option, but one tool you can use is eGrow. And if you go through the eGrow reverse ASIN search, so you find a product on Amazon, you target that product and you add it into the reverse ASIN search, and this is where you're going to get a full list of keywords that that particular product is ranking for. You want to check the misspelled keywords and create one manual campaign that targets all of those misspelled keywords. Make sure that your bids are extremely low for each and every keyword, because 99% of the time, nobody's going to be targeting misspelled keywords. So if anyone goes into Amazon, any customer logs into Amazon and types in the keyword misspelled, your product is going to pop up and it's going to rank much higher than any other product because you are advertising for misspelled keywords. Again, this is not a main ad campaign. This is just an additional ad campaign that you can create that is very honestly, very cost effective, and it's not competitive at all because most people aren't doing that. A second campaign that I absolutely love, and I think everyone that sells on Amazon really talks about it and loves it as well, is the product targeting campaign, where you can target particular products. Now, of course, if you're already doing an auto campaign or if you've already created an auto campaign before, Amazon does target particular ASINs through your auto campaign. However, when you want to create a completely different product targeting campaign, what you want to do is you want to choose the ASINs that, in comparison to your product, you always win. What do I mean by that? You want to choose ASINs, for example, that are not Prime eligible if you are currently Prime eligible. You want to choose to target ASINs that have much lower amount of reviews than you currently have. You want to target ASINs that are more expensive than your particular product. So in comparison, if I were to compare your product to the ASIN that we want to target, you always win because of some particular features that you have. Now, going back to search engine optimization and keywords, for tip number 3, optimize your listing. I'm sure you've heard it all the time. Optimizing your listing, making sure your copy is good, making sure that your images are up to point and to a level where they are converting. Of course, all of that is very important. But if you also know, from tip number 1, if you also know your target audience and you additionally know what they are searching for, you can use that knowledge and information and add it into your listing and optimize your listing. If you don't want to do what I suggested in tip number 1, you can just do your own research. Basically, when you create an auto campaign, for example, on Amazon, after a certain time gives you a search report, and you can check all the keywords where people are clicking on your product and potentially purchasing it or not. But if they are opting to click under that particular keyword, then that keyword is very important for them and you need to make sure that you utilize it. So if you have a master list of keywords, you need to make sure that all the main keywords are in your title. But additionally, remember that bullet points are very important. Some people just write in anything into their bullet points, and that's not the way to go. Your bullet points are called, in Amazon language, key features. So what are the 5 unique things that make your product very interesting, and why should somebody buy your product? You have 5 bullet points to explain to them why. And I would suggest that you also back up your bullet points with an image. Meaning, if one of your bullet points says, for example, easy to clean for the baking mat, back to the baking mat example, easy to clean. So why not have an image that backs up that bullet point, so that when the customer sees the image and reads the bullet points, so now they're getting the information twice. So it's compatible with everything in your listing needs to be compatible. So it needs to be working together to push the client over the edge and get them to purchase your product. Moving on to images, of course, images are so important. People, as you are quite aware, that's the only interaction that they have with your product. They can't smell it, they can't essentially touch it, they can't feel it, they can only see it. So images are very, very, very important. There's so many images that you can create, but mostly the images that seem to convert the best are images that focus on the actual product, and we call those white background images, where the product is the main focus. Lifestyle images where you can see people actually using your product, like the easy to clean lifestyle image can have somebody washing the baking mat or the baking mat inside of a dishwasher, showcasing the fact that it's very easy to clean. And what we call as infographics. Infographics can actually be a lifestyle image with some additional information and some additional text, or they can be just standard graphical images that showcase why your product, the unique features of your product. These are more technical images, less lifestyle and in action, and give more concrete features about your product. So you want your listing to be a mixture of all of those images so that you are talking to every single type of customer. People who are more creative tend to like, and more emotional, tend to like the lifestyle images, and people who are very factual and very data-driven tend to like the infographics a little bit more. But everyone is a mixture of both. Not everyone is factual and not everyone is emotional. That's why you want to have a mixture of all of those images so that you can get the best chance of getting that sale. And that's it for this video. Make sure that you leave me a comment. Which was your favorite tip? Which one of those tips are you gonna implement right now? I'll see you in another video with more information. Bye.